Welcome back to the deep dive. I have to admit, the research you sent over for this week, um, it actually made me mad.
Mad. That's a new one. Usually you're just overwhelmed or, excited. Why mad?
Yeah, mad for like the first 20 minutes of reading it. Because it attacks the one thing I feel like I spend my entire life trying to build.
Okay.
I'm spending 40, 50 hours a week trying to build stability.
Right.
I'm trying to plan my year, my budget, my career path. I have spreadsheets for my spreadsheet.
I've seen them.
And then I open this document, and the very first premise is essentially telling me that I'm just chasing a ghost.
Certainty does not exist.
Right. It doesn't say it's hard to find. It doesn't say it's rare. It says it's a neurological hallucination. That is a heavy, heavy opener. It felt personal.
Well, it is personal. It's meant to be. It challenges the very bedrock of how we operate. That anger you felt.
Yeah.
The source material would argue that's actually a symptom of the problem we're talking about today. We aren't just looking at, a philosophical text here. We're looking at a manual for operating in reality. And the core argument is that you are suffering, that all of us are suffering, because we're trying to navigate what it calls a quantum terrain.
Okay, a quantum terrain.
Using a Newtonian map.
Right. Let's unpack that distinction immediately.
Well,
That was the first thing I highlighted. Quantum versus Newtonian. I haven't done physics since high school, so, help me out here.
It's a great analogy. Think of Newtonian physics as a game of billiards.
Okay.
If I hit the cue ball at this specific angle with this specific amount of force, it will hit the 8-ball, and that 8-ball will go into the corner pocket.
It's deterministic.
Perfectly deterministic. Cause and effect. If A, then B, every single time.
Which is exactly how we want life to work. I mean, that's the dream, isn't it? If I work hard, then I get the promotion. If I eat salad, I lose weight.
Yeah.
If I'm a good person, bad things won't happen to me.
Exactly. That is the Newtonian map. It's rigid, it's linear, it's predictable.
But reality isn't like that.
Not even close. The source argues that reality, the actual terrain we're all walking on, is quantum. It's stochastic.
Stochastic. So random. Is that what that means?
Random, yeah. And governed by entropy and probability. In a quantum world, you can hit that cue ball perfectly, and halfway down the table might just disappear.
Or the ball turns into a bird.
Or the ball turns into a bird. There are no narrative arcs in physics. There are absolutely no guaranteed outcomes.
So if certainty is a hallucination, why does it feel so bad when we don't have it? Why is the unknown so physically painful? Because I feel it in my stomach. When I don't know what's going to happen, it's a physical sensation.
And that's the key insight. The source puts it beautifully. The pain isn't caused by the uncertainty itself.
It's not.
No. It's caused by the discrepancy, the gap. You're holding a map of straight lines, your expectations, your plans, in a world that's made of squiggles. And when the world squiggles and your map says straight line, your brain panics.
That explains so much. I felt this weird mix of relief and shock reading that. Relief. Because, okay, I'm not broken. I'm not a failure for feeling unsure all the time. I'm not feeling at life because I can't predict what's going to happen next year.
You're just human.
But shock, because it means I'm fighting my own biology, my own hardware.
You are. And that's a key takeaway for this whole deep dive. This isn't about learning a new skill. Not really. The source frames this entire journey not as like an educational process, but as a detoxification process.
A detox.
Yeah. We have to strip away a lifetime of conditioning that equates unknown with danger.
So consider this deep dive our manual for operating in reality. That's our mission statement for today. We're going to cover the biology of fear, the philosophy of the void, which sounds incredibly ominous.
It does, but it's actually super practical.
And then we're going to get into some really, really specific physical protocols to actually retrain the brain.
And when we say specific, we mean it. We are not just going to tell you to take a deep breath and call it a day.
No. We are going to talk about spinning in chairs, looking at walls in a weird way, and rolling dice to walk through your own city.
It sounds strange, but it's all about hacking the hardware.
I saw the spinning chair thing in the notes. I'm highly skeptical, but we'll get there. Let's start with that hardware. Why do we crave certainty so badly if it doesn't even exist? Is it just that we're all control freaks?
It's much deeper than that. It comes down to energy. The brain is not a camera.
Right.
It doesn't just open a lens and passively record what is there. The brain is a prediction engine.
Okay, so it's constantly guessing.
Constantly, all day, every day. Its primary job isn't to see the world as it is. Its job is to predict what happens next to keep you alive.
Okay.
And we have to look at the energy budget here. Your brain is what, maybe 2% of your body weight?
Something like that, yeah.
But it consumes about 20% of your caloric energy. It is an incredibly expensive machine to run.
It's like a gas-guzzling SUV for your head.
Exactly. It's a Hummer. And evolution is always, always trying to be efficient. So here's the kicker. Processing new, unexpected information is metabolically expensive. It burns a ton of glucose. But predicting that the future will be exactly like the past.
That's easy.
That is cheap. It's energy efficient. If your brain can look at this room and just assume the ceiling held up yesterday, it'll probably hold up today, it saves a massive amount of energy.
So when the brain can't predict what comes next, when we face uncertainty, it's not just like emotionally annoying. It's an actual energy crisis for the body.
Precisely. That's the perfect way to put it. When the prediction model fails, you get that weird email from your boss at 5 p.m. on a Friday saying, we need to talk. The brain can't use its cheap business-as-usual pathway.
No.
It has to spin up the analysis engine. It starts running simulations. Did I mess up the report? Is it about the budget cuts? Am I getting fired? Did she find out I took the last donut?
And that's spinning. That's burning real physical fuel.
Massive amounts of glucose. This is why you can sit in a chair for 8 hours, do zero physical exercise, just worrying about a potential layoff, and go home feeling physically exhausted.
Right. Tired but wired. That's the feeling. You've done nothing but you wiped out.
You ran a marathon in your head. And there's a specific mechanism for this called the error signal.
Okay.
When reality deviates from your brain's prediction, it fires a prediction error. This unleashes a chemical cocktail. You get cortisol for stress, norepinephrine for alertness.
The fight or flight stuff.
Exactly. And we interpret this feeling as anxiety. We think, oh no, something is wrong. But the source points out something profound. The biological signal isn't something is wrong. The signal is simply something is new.
Whoa. Okay, say that again. Something is new versus something is wrong.
That's the reframe. But our body, our hardware, it doesn't really know the difference.
No, my body definitely reacts like it's wrong. It reacts like I'm about to die.
And that is the amygdala hijack. You have to remember your ancestors. We are the descendants of the paranoid ones.
The ones who survived.
The ones who survived.
Yeah.
Imagine you're on the savannah, you hear a rustle in the bushes. It could be the wind, or it could be a saber-toothed tiger.
The classic scenario, yeah.
Right. Now, let's just look at the evolutionary math, the cost-benefit analysis. Option 1. You assume it's the wind, but it's actually a tiger. What happens?
Your lunch. Game over. You do not pass on your genes.
Exactly. Extinction event for your lineage. Option 2. You assume it's a tiger, but it's just the wind. What's the cost?
You feel a little silly. You waste some calories running away. You're anxious for a few minutes.
But you survive. You live to pass on your genes. So which trait gets selected for over millions of years?
The one that panics unnecessarily.
We are wired to generate false positives. Our biology is designed to prefer being anxious and wrong over being calm and dead.
That makes total sense for a caveman. It's a brilliant survival strategy. But I'm not running from tigers. I'm running from quarterly reviews and, awkward first dates.
And that's the fundamental mismatch. Your modern biology treats an ambiguous text message with the same gravitational weight as that predator in the bushes.
So when I get a text that just says, we need to talk, my amygdala doesn't know the difference.
It has no idea. It doesn't know what a text is. It just knows potential threat detected. And suddenly your palms are sweating, your heart rate is up, your pupils are dilated, you're preparing to fight a tiger, but you're just sitting at a desk at WeWork.
Wow. And then you layer on the other side of it the dopamine aspect.
Yeah.
Because when we do get certainty, when the mystery is solved, it feels good.
It feels amazing. It's a reward. It's a chemical hit.
So it's an addiction.
It is absolutely an addiction. Certainty triggers a dopamine release. When you finally figure it out or get that reassurance you were seeking, you get a little chemical reward. But like any addiction,
You build a tolerance.
you build a tolerance.
Oh, this is the checking behavior. I totally do this with my bank account sometimes. Or tracking a package that's out for delivery.
Yes, 1,000%. Checking your bank account once might make you feel safe today. But tomorrow, that's not enough. You'll need to check it 3 times to get the same hit of relief.
Or check the tracking page every 5 minutes as if that's going to make the truck drive faster.
Exactly. And the source is very, very strict on this point. You cannot think your way out of this loop. You are fighting millions of years of evolutionary programming. You have to train your way out.
Okay, so that's the hardware problem.
Oh.
Our biology is tricking us into being paranoid energy savers.
Yeah.
But then there's the software problem. Our philosophy is also kind of messed up. The source calls this section the epistemology of the void.
Yeah.
Which, again, sounds like a chapter from some sci-fi horror novel.
It's a bit dramatic, I'll grant you, but it's accurate. It addresses the fundamental logic errors we use to construct our worldview, and it starts with that classic idea. The map is not the territory.
Right.
And specifically, the illusion of causality.
I feel so called out by this one. We tell ourselves these clean little stories, right? The big one being, I work hard, so I succeeded.
And the source just destroys that narrative. It says essentially, that's a lie. Or at the very least, a dangerous partial truth. You worked hard, yes, that's an input. But also, the market timing was right. You didn't get the flu the week of the big presentation. Your key investor didn't have a personal crisis. The internet didn't go out.
There are a million other variables.
A million. You control the inputs, your effort, your preparation, but you never, ever control the outcomes.
But we convince ourselves we do. We look back at our past successes and we draw a straight line and say, see, I planned that. I made that happen.
That is a cognitive bias called retrospective determinism. We look at the past and think, oh, it had to happen that way. It was inevitable.
Because we know the ending.
We know the ending. But at the time when it was actually happening, the past was just as uncertain and chaotic as your present is right now. We trick ourselves into thinking the future should be predictable because the past looks predictable in the rearview mirror.
It's like watching a movie for the second time. You know the hero survives the big fight scene, so you aren't scared. But in life, we're always watching the movie for the first time.
Always. And this leads directly to the game analogy, which I think is maybe the most useful mental model in this entire stack of research.
Okay.
It says, we are trying to play chess, but life is actually a game of poker.
I love chess. I hate poker.
And that's exactly the point. Most people who crave certainty feel the same way. Why? Because in chess, all the information is on the board.
Perfect information.
Perfect information. You can see your pieces. You can see your opponent's pieces. It's a game of pure calculation. It's deterministic. If I do X and you do Y, then Z happens. If you lose in chess, it is 100% your fault. You made a calculation error.
But life isn't like that.
No. Life is poker. In poker, you are dealing with hidden information. You don't know the other player's cards. You don't know what the next card in the deck is going to be.
Right.
You can make the mathematically correct decision. You can go all in with the best possible hand and still lose to a lucky draw on the river.
And that's the hardest part. You can do everything right and still lose.
No, the odds.
It feels unjust.
It feels unjust to the Newtonian mind that wants A to lead to B. But to the quantum mind, it's just probability. The source says we have to shift from deterministic thinking, asking, will this work, yes or no, to probabilistic thinking.
So instead, we should be asking,
what are the odds?
And knowing that even if the odds are 90% in your favor, that 10% can still happen.
It will happen eventually. And the source also brings up black swans here.
Right. The totally unpredictable events.
Exactly. The most critical events in your life, meeting your spouse, a global pandemic, a sudden invention, a surprise layoff, are inherently unpredictable. They are black swans. You can't plan for them because, by definition, they exist outside your current model of reality.
So all my detailed 5-year plans, my spreadsheets.
The source has a strong warning here. It says that excessive planning, that kind of rigid forecasting, actually makes you fragile.
Fragile? How?
If you plan for one specific outcome, you completely crumble when any deviation occurs. You have overfitted your life to a reality that doesn't exist and was never going to exist.
Okay, so we have the biology of a paranoid caveman and the philosophy of a chess player in a poker tournament. It's no wonder we're all so stressed out.
It's a potent combination for anxiety.
So let's talk about the psychology of it, because some people seem to handle this inherent chaos better than others. The source brings up this concept of intolerance of uncertainty, or IU.
Right. IU is a cognitive bias. You can think of it as a scale. People with high IU view uncertain situations not just as, annoying or inconvenient, but as actively unfair or threatening.
And that's what triggers the downward spiral.
It triggers the catastrophizing chain.
Oh, I know this chain. This is my 3 a.m. brain in a nutshell.
Walk me through it. What does that sound like for you?
Okay, so it starts with something small, something genuinely uncertain, like, I don't know if I'll get this new client.
Okay, a reasonable uncertainty.
But then, boom, my brain immediately jumps to, If I don't get the client, I'll miss my quota. Then instantly, if I miss my quota, I'm a failure.
Right, the label comes in.
Then it's, I'll get fired. Then I'll be destitute and homeless. And the grand finale is always, I'll die alone under a bridge.
And how long does it take for your brain to travel from client to bridge?
About 4 seconds. Maybe 5 on a good day.
That is the mechanism. It's the compression of the gap between a small uncertainty and total irreversible catastrophe. You treat a low probability negative outcome as a high probability inevitability.
And to fight that feeling, we do these, what does the source call them? Illusion of control rituals.
Exactly. Safety behaviors.
And it lists a few. Micromanagement, that's a big one. Information hoarding. Is that like reading endless online reviews for a toaster?
I think we have all been there. Reading the 50th five-star review for a simple toaster isn't about getting a better toaster.
No.
It's about soothing the anxiety that you might make a wrong choice. It's a ritual to create the feeling of certainty.
And my favorite line in this whole section, it's blunt, but I highlighted it twice. Worrying is mental masturbation.
It's aggressive, but think about why it's so accurate. It feels like activity. It feels productive. You think you're doing something about the problem.
Right, I'm working on it.
You're churning over the variables, running the simulations again and again, but it produces nothing. It solves nothing. It's just spinning your wheels to generate heat and burn that glucose we talked about.
It also talks about the demand for warranties. We want a warranty on life. We want to know the relationship will work out before we commit. We want to know the business will succeed before we invest.
But the trade-off is crystal clear. If a venture is certain, the returns are zero. It's a fundamental law of markets and life. If everyone knows a stock is going to go up, the price is already high. There's no value to be captured.
So value only exists in the uncertain.
Only. The source argues we aren't actually afraid of uncertainty itself. We are afraid of loss. And even deeper than that, we lack the self-trust to handle that loss if it happens.
That hits home. It's not, I don't know what will happen. It's, I don't trust myself to handle it if the worst-case scenario happens.
Exactly. You are fundamentally betting against your own future resilience.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem in excruciating detail. We're fighting biology, philosophy, and psychology. Now let's actually fix it. The source shifts into somatic and physical protocols. And this is where it gets really interesting for me because it says we have to hack the hardware. The mind cannot relax if the body is bracing for impact.
This is absolutely crucial. You cannot think your way out of a body that is screaming danger. If your heart is racing, your gut is clenched, and your breathing is shallow, no amount of philosophical reframing is going to calm you down.
You have to address the physical state first.
You have to start with the somatic state.
Okay, so let's get into the weird stuff. Protocol number 1 is interoceptive exposure therapy. And the first exercise is, spinning.
Spinning! Yes, in a swivel chair.
Okay, I have to stop you there. You're serious.
Yeah.
Because if I go into my office tomorrow and just start spinning in circles, HR is going to have some questions. Why on earth are we spinning in chairs?
I get it. It sounds strange. But think about what uncertainty feels like physically.
It feels like dizziness, disorientation, like the world is spinning out of control.
Exactly. The goal here is to voluntarily induce that physical sensation. You sit in a chair, you spin until you are noticeably dizzy, and then, and this is the important part, you stand up without holding on to anything.
That sounds terrifying for a control freak like me. I hate being dizzy.
And that's the whole point. You hate it because your brain has coupled the sensation of dizzy with the cognitive label of unsafe. This exercise is about teaching your brain a new lesson.
Which is?
I am disoriented, my physical sensors are going haywire, but I am safe. You are consciously and physically decoupling the sensation from the death is imminent signal.
So it's like exposure therapy, but for your inner ear and your nervous system.
Precisely. You prove to yourself, on a hardware level, that you can stand in the middle of chaos without falling.
Okay. So I try that at home first, not at the office. And the second one in this category is straw breathing.
This one is designed to mimic the feeling of panic. You take a thin coffee stirrer or a thin straw, you pinch your nose, and you breathe only through that straw for 1 to 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
It creates a sensation called air hunger, which is that feeling of suffocation you get during a panic attack.
You just sit there with it.
You sit with the sensation, you notice the urge to gasp for air, and you just don't. Again, you are proving to your nervous system that physical dysregulation is temporary and ultimately survivable.
It sounds absolutely miserable.
It is for 2 minutes, but if you can handle that voluntarily, you can handle the physical symptoms of anxiety during a stressful meeting. You've already been there.
Okay. Protocol 2 is the open loop posture. This is about a ventral vagal hack.
This is all about feedback loops. When we get anxious, what do we do with our bodies?
We close up, we cross our arms, we hunch our shoulders, we cross our legs.
Why? What are we doing?
We're protecting the soft bits, our organs.
Right. We're physically protecting our vital organs from a perceived threat. This physical posture sends a feedback signal up to the brain that says, we are curling into a ball, therefore we must be under siege.
So it creates a vicious cycle.
To break the loop, you do the opposite. When you're in a situation that's making you anxious, sending a risky text, waiting for bad news, you physically adopt an open posture. Uncross your legs, turn your palms up on your lap, and even tilt your head back slightly, exposing your neck.
You expose the jugular.
Literally. The source says you cannot mentally spiral into a state of terror if your body is physically signaling, I am safe enough to expose my jugular. It's a direct hack of the vagus nerve, which regulates our relaxation response.
I'm going to try that next time I have to send a scary email. Just lean back and open up. It feels so counterintuitive, like I'm inviting the blow.
But the blow isn't physical. That's the key. You are proving to your ancient hardware that the threat is informational, not a predator.
Okay, this is good. Protocol 3 is visual field expansion.
This is a favorite of mine because you can do it anywhere, anytime, and no one will know you're doing it.
Okay.
Anxiety creates what's called foveal vision. It's tunnel vision. You literally stare down the threat. To trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, you need to engage your peripheral vision.
How do you actually do that?
You just soften your gaze. You look straight ahead at a wall, but without moving your eyes, you try to become aware of the far left and far right of the room simultaneously. You take in the whole panorama.
I'm doing it right now. It's weird. You can actually feel your shoulders drop a little. It forces you to relax.
It is mechanically impossible to maintain a state of high alert panic while in panoramic vision. The two neurological states cannot coexist in the brain at the same time.
Wow. Okay, so we've hacked the body. Now let's move up the stack to behavior. Section 5 is the pragmatic protocol. The source calls it exposure and response prevention.
This is all about identifying your specific safety behaviors, the little rituals you do to reduce anxiety, and then systematically breaking them.
Phase 1 is the email blackout. I feel like people are going to start sweating just hearing this one.
The instruction is very simple, but very hard. You send an important email or text something with real stakes, and you immediately turn off your phone and your computer for 2 hours.
2 hours. I can't go 2 minutes without checking to see if they've replied.
And what are you checking for in those 2 minutes?
Oh, I don't know, validation, relief, see if they hate me.
Exactly. You're trying to close the loop. This exercise forces the loop to stay open. You will feel the panic rise. Did they get it? Was there a typo? Are they mad at me? The instruction is to just sit with that panic. Feel it in your body. Watch it rise, watch it peak, and watch it fall on its own.
So you're learning that not knowing is not fatal.
You're learning that you can survive the wave. You let it crash over you without doing anything to fix it.
That's hardcore. But I see the logic. Phase 2 is the blind choice.
This is for the optimizers, the people who spend 20 minutes researching the best brand of paper towels.
That's me. I need to know I'm getting the best thing on the menu.
So the rule is, when you go to a restaurant, you pick the third item on the menu, period, without reading the description.
But what if I hate it?
Then you eat a bad lunch.
Laughs. And that's the lesson.
That's the entire lesson. The lesson is to break the deeply ingrained link between optimization and survival. We act like picking the wrong lunch is a survival threat. It's not. Most decisions in life are reversible and very low stakes. You need to train your brain to treat them that way.
Or the coin flip walk.
Right. When you're walking, you get to an intersection, you flip a coin, heads you go right, tails you go left.
It's about introducing intentional chaos.
It forces you to adapt. It breaks the illusion that you can or should control everything.
Okay, phase 3 is cognitive reframing. We have the so what drill.
This is about following the fear all the way to the bottom. We usually stop at the catastrophe. I lose my house.
Right, and then we panic and stop thinking.
But you have to keep asking, then what? Or, so what? Okay, I lose my house. So what?
Then I guess I rent an apartment.
So what?
Then I'll have less space and my commute will be longer.
So what? You keep going, and usually the absolute bottom isn't death. The bottom is just discomfort or inconvenience or embarrassment, and we can handle all of those things.
And the maybe mantra. This one was powerful.
This is so important. Don't counter fear with false, toxic positivity. Don't just say, it'll all be fine.
Because that's just another form of certainty seeking.
And if it's not fine, you feel completely betrayed by your own optimism. The source says to counter fear with maybe.
So instead of I won't fail, it's maybe I will fail.
Maybe it will hurt. Maybe this relationship is going to end. The moment you accept the possibility, you disarm your resistance to it. It's like mental judo. You stop pushing against the fear, and you just use its own momentum to let it fall.
Moving on to section 6, this is a big one. Linguistic dehypnotization. Changing how we speak to literally change how we think. This includes something called E-prime.
English prime. It's a linguistic discipline where you try to eliminate the verb to be, is, are, am, was, were.
That sounds almost impossible. I mean, I am hungry. He is a jerk. How do you even say those things?
It's difficult, but it forces an incredible shift in perspective. Instead of saying, John is a jerk, which implies a permanent, unchangeable state like his very soul is made of jerk material.
Right, it's a fixed identity.
You say, John acted like a jerk in that meeting.
Okay, I see. It separates the person from the behavior. What about I am anxious?
That becomes, I am experiencing the feeling of anxiety.
It makes everything temporary. It turns nouns back into verbs.
It forces the brain to acknowledge reality as a process, not a status state. Nothing is. Everything is happening.
Then there's the must detox, replacing words like must and should with prefer.
Think about the statement, he must call me back. That creates a binary reality in your mind, success or catastrophe. If he calls, you feel relief. If he doesn't, the world is wrong and you're in crisis.
But if you change it to, I would prefer he calls me back.
Now you've created a spectrum. It's desirable that he calls back, but if it doesn't happen, it's tolerable. You can live in a world of spectrums. You will constantly be in crisis in a world of binaries.
And finally, probabilistic labeling.
This one is for the analytical folks. You force your brain to think in bets. Don't let yourself say, we will miss the deadline.
Instead,
You have to attach a number. I am 70% confident we will miss the deadline. The act of quantifying the uncertainty engages the prefrontal cortex, your logical brain, and it quiets the amygdala, your fear brain.
it turns a threat into a math problem.
Then your brain is much better at solving math problems than it is at fighting tigers that aren't there.
I love that. Okay, section 7. This is about lifestyle design, environmental and strategic chaos. Basically, designing anti-fragility into your life.
If you curate a life of total comfort and predictability, you atrophy your ability to adapt. If you never get cold, you become terrified of the cold. You have to inject randomness.
We have the dice walk here.
Yes. You go to a part of your city you don't know well, and you navigate based on dice rolls. At each intersection, odd you go left, even you go right.
Is that you're intentionally getting lost.
You're training your wayfinding circuits. You get
Really?
lost, and you realize getting lost isn't the end of the world. You find a new coffee shop you love. You stumble upon a shortcut. You remap the territory of your reality.
And menu roulette, which is basically eating suboptimal food on purpose to train your resilience.
Exactly. If you get a bad meal, you survive. It proves to your nervous system that suboptimal is not the same as catastrophic. It's low-stakes deprivation training.
Which leads to the more intense go-bag lifestyle. This is a bit of a minimalist, almost prepper-style challenge.
It is. You pack a backpack with everything you'd need to survive for 3 days, and then once a month, you live only out of that bag for a weekend inside your own home.
So you completely ignore your comfortable bed, your full fridge, your closet full of clothes.
You sleep on the floor, you eat the protein bars you packed, you wear the one change of clothes. It's a powerful exercise that proves to you that most of your needs are actually just comforts.
And when you realize how little you truly need to survive, the fear of losing things loses its power over you.
The uncertainty of financial loss or career change becomes much less threatening.
That's intense. And this leads to even deeper deprivation, training fasting, cold showers, sleeping on the floor regularly.
It's about voluntarily visiting the worst-case scenario to detonate the fear of it. If you can handle being hungry and cold because you chose to be, what are you really afraid of?
Let's talk about career, because uncertainty around money is what keeps most people awake at night. The source suggests a barbell strategy.
This comes from the writer Nassim Taleb. The idea is to avoid the middle ground. The middle is moderate risk, which sounds safe but is actually the most dangerous place to be.
What's an example of the middle?
A stable corporate job that could lay you off at age 50 with no warning, leaving you with skills that are no longer relevant.
So what's the alternative? The barbell.
You combine extreme safety on one side with extreme risk on the other. You keep a boring, low-stress day job or just hold a lot of cash. That's the safe side of the barbell. Then you use your remaining energy and a small amount of capital for wild, high-upside bets angel investing, starting a side business, writing a book.
So you're an accountant by day and a crypto investing rock star by night.
Something like that. Your safe side prevents ruin. You can't starve. Your risky side gives you access to unlimited, unpredictable upside. You don't rely on the fragile middle to take care of you.
And this ties into the fuck-off fund.
Excuse the language, but that is the technical term in the source material.
It's a very effective term.
It is. It means accumulating 6 months of bare-bones living expenses in a separate savings account. And you must label the account freedom.
Why is that so important?
Because it gives you the psychological and financial autonomy to walk away from a toxic boss, a dead-end job, or a bad situation without having to panic.
And ironically, having that fund changes how you behave at work.
Completely. If you know you can leave, you stop acting out of fear. You speak the truth in meetings. You take smart risks. You negotiate harder. And that usually makes you far more valuable.
And finally for this section, skill stacking.
Don't try to be in the top 1% in one hyper-competitive thing. That's incredibly hard and makes you fragile. A new technology could make your one skill obsolete.
So instead,
Become very good, say, top 25% in 3 or 4 unrelated fields.
give me an example.
Be good at coding, plus good at public speaking, plus good at financial modeling. Or be good at graphic design, plus good at psychology, plus good at sales. The unique combination of those skills creates a niche that is very hard to automate and almost impossible to replace. It makes you adaptable to change.
Section 8 is about social and cognitive dynamics. This is about relationships and mindset. First up, paradoxical intention. This sounds very weird, like trying to be awkward.
It works because of how anxiety functions. Anxiety requires resistance to sustain itself. You are anxious about public speaking because you are desperately trying not to stutter or trying not to blush.
So you're supposed to lean into it.
You are supposed to intend it. If you walk into a room with the explicit goal of trying to stutter or trying to be the most awkward person there, you remove the resistance, the pressure is gone, and often the symptom vanishes. It's almost impossible to try to stutter and actually stutter at the same time.
Wow. Okay. Rejection therapy. Gamifying the word no.
This is a classic. You go out and you deliberately ask for things you expect to be rejected for. Ask a stranger for $100. Ask to tour the kitchen of a donut shop. Ask for a 10% discount on your coffee.
And what's the goal? To get the free stuff.
No. The goal is to get a no. If they say yes, you have failed the exercise. The goal is to desensitize yourself to rejection.
When no becomes the target, the fear of hearing it vanishes.
You realize no is just the sound wave. It's information. It doesn't actually hurt you.
The no script rule. This one gives me hives.
Enter important meetings with 0 preparation.
That sounds wildly unprofessional. I could never.
It's not for every meeting, obviously. It's a training exercise. We rely too much on scripts and PowerPoints as a safety blanket. You need to learn that you have what the source calls generative capacity. You can think on your feet. You can generate solutions in real time. If you always prepare obsessively, you never learn to trust your ability to improvise.
And the last one here is the Zen farmer. This is about removing good versus bad labels.
Right, it's from an old Taoist story. A farmer's horse runs away. His neighbors come and say, "Oh, that's such bad luck." The farmer just says, "Maybe."
Okay.
The next day, the horse comes back and brings 7 wild horses with it. The neighbors say, "Wow, what good luck." The farmer says, "Maybe." The day after, his son tries to tame one of the horses, is thrown off, and breaks his leg. The neighbors say, "How terrible, such bad luck." The farmer again says, "Maybe." The next week, the army comes to the village to forcibly conscript all the able-bodied young men for a war, but they see the son's broken leg, and they leave him behind.
So the point is,
The point is to stop prematurely labeling events. I got fired isn't bad, it's data. You do not have the crystal ball to know the end of the story. Maybe getting fired is the event that leads to the best opportunity of your entire life. Labeling it bad is a claim to know the future, and you don't.
okay, finally, section 9, the final shift. This is about identity and spirit. Water versus the rock.
This is a beautiful metaphor for the 2 ways of being. The rock represents the certainty seeker. It braces for impact. It tries to be solid and immovable. But if it braces in the wrong way, or the impact is too hard, or from an unexpected angle...
It cracks, it shatters, it crumbles.
Exactly. And water
doesn't brace.
It flows around the obstacle. It changes its shape to fit the container. It's yielded yet powerful. The goal is to be water. When plans change, you don't break. You just change shape and keep moving.
And trusting your future self.
We worry constantly because we treat our future selves like incompetent children. We think, oh no, if this bad thing happens, future me won't be able to handle it.
But when you look at the actual data...
The reality check is simple. You have survived 100% of your past problems. Every single one of them. Future, you will be smarter, older, and have more information than present you does. You have to trust that they will be able to handle whatever comes.
Amor fati.
Love of fate. And the key word there is love. Not just tolerance, not just acceptance. Love. Don't just bear the chaos. Love it. The unexpected event, the obstacle, the detour, that is the path.
And finally, memento mori.
The ultimate certainty. Remember, you will die.
It's grim, but for some reason it works. It's comforting.
It contextualizes everything. Are you worried about a typo in an email? Remember, you are a dying animal on a spinning rock in an infinite void. It makes the worry seem... well, absurd. Which it is. It frees you.
We have covered so much ground, from spinning in chairs to facing our own mortality. What is the final directive here? If the listener takes only one thing away from this entire deep dive, what should it be?
Stop asking what if and start asking what now. What if keeps you stuck in a hypothetical, anxious future? What now grounds you in present action? There is no there. You can get to where everything finally locks into place. The confusion and the flux is the state of being alive.
And the swimming metaphor. I love this one to close out.
The whole journey is a shift from thinking, I need to know the bridge is safe before I cross it, to thinking, if the bridge breaks, I will swim.
So stop studying bridge engineering.
And learn to swim. If you know you can swim, it doesn't really matter if the bridge holds or not. That is the only true security there is.
Go do the thing you are afraid to do because you don't know the outcome. Because that is where you find out who you really are.
Exactly.
This has been intense, but in the best possible way. I can go roll some dice on my way home and maybe spin in my chair for a bit.
Just don't fall over. Or do. You'll survive it.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you out there in the unknown.